What's up, guys? WhoNeedsMeta here. So last night, Caddy and I kind of tag teamed a match together. We kind of talked out our thoughts through each play, but unfortunately my audio got corrupted. So I'm going to kind of do walk you through everything that we did and kind of go through the logic and things like that of this match. This is a Tengu match. We were playing Dark Calling. Our opponent was playing Karakuri, so we'll just kind of get right into it here. And we are going to go first. We did win RPS. So turn one, we were discussing whether or not to set Snowman or summon Prisma because we have the fusion in hand, but we felt it was safer to set Snowman just because you don't necessarily need to go for the dump because we're going to be going this. We also discussed whether or not you want to go for the Shining, but with Dark Calling in hand, it felt more important to get a rock in because Shining says Elemental Hero and Ab-Zero just says Hero. We were able to send Malicious Edge, so that's the logic behind that. So this way we get two guys out of our deck a little bit easier, and then we're going to go with the set Snowman just because you can, it just sets up tempo a little bit better because you can deal with a threat and then Prisma the next turn. So our opponent is going to draw and just double upstart just because of, you know, the nature of the deck. I do like the Compulse in the main board, and then obviously those are good upstarts because they're going to be able to make a play. So we debated on Valoring Nanishi. So you do have to Valor Nanishi on summon. It's not an activated effect. And we opted to not do so and instead Valor whatever they brought out, whether they brought out like a level 6 guy, or if they were bringing out like the Kuik or the Nsamu, which is the battle recruiter, they would make a 7. You Valor the 7, then you just kill the guy when they try and do things. So instead they ended up going for the search. Okay, we're going to negate the search because they're clearly going for Nat Beast, and we could just kill Nat Beast with Snowman Eater. Nat Beast kind of does destroy this deck. So again, yeah, Snowman Eater is going to take out the Nat Beast. They're going to set 2, which are Compulse and Mirror Force. So we do see this E-Call, and we're seeing a play where we're going to be able to pop stuff using Stratos later on. Just because of the E-Call here, if we're able to protect this Prisma, with them only having 2 cards, Karakuri needs more cards to do things. So we're going to get rid of the Golem out of the deck, just because you have the Dark Calling, you don't necessarily want to draw it. Prisma does also send for cost in this format. That was changed in 2010, so after Edison, if you're more of an Edison player. That is something to know. So Prisma, this is like the best version of Prisma because we have priority, and we also have the ability to send for cost. So we're going to resolve Prisma a lot faster. So they're going to duality into Upstart, Warning, and Scapegoat. We obviously don't want Upstart. They're going to take the Scapegoat. Warning, we already have our guy on board, and it doesn't deal with that. So Scapegoat seems to be the logical choice. And they are going to take Scapegoat. That's what we're talking about. Like, that's really the only option. So we also know this is Scapegoat. Because during the standby phase here, we're going to get our Ab-Zero, and then we're going to control enough heroes to be able to use Stratos' effect for 2. And obviously, if they chain the Scapegoat, they have to chain it on activation. So we're also going to be using Prisma to get more guys out of the deck quickly before we, just in case Tarantula, you want to get more of the bricks out of the deck. So we're going to go ahead and do that. And E-Call for Stratos here, and then Stratos. So essentially, we're going to use the effect to pop back row. He's selecting targets. We realized, oh, we have to do that on resolution. So he's going to bounce the absolute 0. Because we have Dark Calling, we don't care about Scapegoat because we can just force all the tokens because it is live. It's very live, as you can see here. Both fusions are actually live. So he's going to chain Compulse, which is actually really good to the activation. So we're only going to be able to pop 1. And we're obviously are going to pop the other one because, again, we don't care about the Scapegoat because we can go for Dark Calling here. And this is going to force game. So I was trying to figure, he was explaining to me the 1700 attack. So essentially you attack with this because if you attack with Dark Guy at first, they're just not going to flip Scapegoat, and then you can't force everything into attack. So you attack for 17, force out Scapegoat, because they can't take all the damage. Attack one of them, and then you use the effect of Dark Guy to put them both in attack because he's at 47 and 18. That's 65. Yeah, 65. and that will get you game there for game 1. So going into game 2, we were debating on what to side. And we sided out Dust Shoot, and we sided out Snowman, which ended up being kind of a mistake. It is kind of a going first card, but and for a Max C and I believe a Super Poly. Or no, we left the Super Poly out for game 3. That'll be game 3 here. So this is the card you never want to draw in this deck. That and Watchdog, you typically don't want to draw them. So we're going to MST to start, just to be able to protect our Prisma, and we're going to get Prisma and get some stuff out of the deck. Big Rock, obviously we're not looking to draw that at the moment. And again, Strategist, unfortunate draw. This is a good draw for them, though. Opting to use it just because you need 2 guys, but that does set them up to get there. So we are going to use the effect. And again, you can't Veiler it because it does send for cost. Get the Malicious Edge out of the deck. Another thing you don't want to draw here. They are going to Max D the Tour Guide. So we're just going to get Sangam, which is fine. Drawing the Veiler a turn late sucks for them, but we have the second one. So unbeknownst to them, it is still in fact alive. So we're just going to go ahead and get for damage, and we're going to set Solemn Judgment. We talked about setting Solemn Judgment with AK always feels bad. But when you're in such an advantageous board position, it doesn't really matter. Now, if these were reversed, maybe you Judgment the Dark Hole, but we're going to Sangam, and we are going to go for Veiler. And we are going to Veiler this one, again, because we can't really deal with Nat Beast if that happens to be the play. We can deal with like this if they go for like 7s and bring out a bunch of guys because we have the Dark Hole. But if they end on Nat Beast, we can't do anything. Funny enough, it doesn't actually have to attack because it's been Veilered. So we're going to try and go for Tour Guide here. And it is unfortunately going to get Veilered. Now, something that we didn't see, we set this as like a bluff to try and like see, and then to get around if this card is Dust Shoot, of course, which it isn't. But whether or not you just Dark Hole this board, it's a minus, but again, with only 1 card. And then again, you're dealing with Max C, so it's like, what can you really do? So maybe you can try and get value off the Max C, but no dice there. Grabbing the Kuik, which is pretty good. And then being able to make Naturia Beast. And then normal summon the guy, because you do have that extra normal summon. And we're going to Max C because Kuik is mandatory to summon, so we're just going to do it in the battle step there and force them to summon something. Which is funny enough, putting the puts Nat Beast in attack, which keeps stuff from being able to run it over. Obviously, Nat Beast in defense, they're not going to attack with. This does happen in the battle phase. But not going to attack with the Nat Beast because the whole point of putting it in defense was to play around Mirror Force. So now we are kind of skunked at the moment until we draw this. So who's like, I really want to draw Cyber Dragon or Prisma. And we ended up drawing the Prisma. So we could send Cyber Dragon here to contact out. That is one of the cards we did side in. We do main 1 and then side the second. And then make the Chimera Tech. So we have a 3k Chimera Tech currently, which gets over Nat Beast. But then again, we know that our opponent has the Judgment. So we are going to get Judgmented. And Nat Beast Judgment, again, we're holding 2 spells. It's going to be hard to play out of. That's a really good draw right there. To be able to kind of get into stuff, go for the Kuik. Be able to get big damage here. And unfortunately, with the cards all being spells here, there's not too much than drawing Veiler. And they know we have Kuik. He was like, I should set Veiler. And I was like, if you set that Veiler, they're going to Kuik, bring back a level 3 tuner, then trish you, and you just lose the game. So don't do that. Which is funny enough, they draw the 2100 guy that I actually don't really like that much, which is hilarious because that does make it game. That is just enough. They needed a big guy. Kuik was not enough on his own. So that is quite funny that that would get us there. So we're going to move on to game 3 here. We are going to take out some hand traps and then put in a Thunder King and a Max C. Or sorry, a Thunder King and Super Poly. And take out the Max C. And we will see the Super Poly. Tour Guide turn 1. Going to eat the Veiler, unfortunately. And then again, setting Judgment with 8k. Not our favorite. Kulik has nothing to target, so there's obviously no reason to do anything with that. They're going to set 2. So we draw the Thunder King, and I'm telling them that, like, hey, if anything happens, you have virtually no follow-up play here. You don't have tempo with Grand Mole to actually do anything. So if they do a D-Prison, a Mirror Force, anything, bottomless, you have warning, you have to Judgment. You have to do it. So here we are going to do it because we know we have to. And then obviously the Kulik is going to go into defense, and then we're going to run it over. They're going to draw Road. Which actually, funny enough, they could get out of this with Heavy Storming and then roading their own Heavy if they really wanted to. The MSE, not a good draw because we don't have any back row. We're going to draw into Dark Calling. And then attack here. Because that play, this Heavy Storm road play will work because they don't know we have Mole. Gonna Heavy the return and set. Again, they can't search because we have Thunder King on board. We can't Rhoda, but we essentially have the tempo now with Grand Mole. I still think doing the heavy road play would be correct. I know a lot of people don't really see it. It is possible to just not see it. But that is a play that you can do. And again, we just have so much tempo here. Where it's funny enough, so that warning, they take 2k and it does make our Dark Calling live. We have a 1900 Dark Gaia, which is super tiny. Again, they're gonna max you out of Desperation here, but there's really nothing you could do here. We know the card is Starlight. So we have the Dark Gaia, and he's 19, and then we can just attack, force it to attack position. They won't be changing to defense position because it's already past attack declaration, and that's going to be game. So a lot of fun, cool interactions in this matchup. Again, I really like how good Prisma is in Tengu. It's kind of fun how it is at that point. So Prisma Glass and things like that, you can utilize that card. But if there's any other replays, feel free to send them our way. There's an email in the description. We're on Discord and things like that. And thanks for watching, guys.